What if the most powerful force shaping your life wasn't a company, a government, or even a person, but an idea lab that operates in the shadows? Right now, as you listen to this, you are using technology that was never meant for you. It wasn't built for convenience. It wasn't built for entertainment. It was built for war, survival, and dominance. And then slowly, it leaked into your everyday life. The internet, GPS, AI. All threads leading back to one place. Defence Advanced Research Projects Agency, aka DARPA. But here's where things get unsettling. DARPA doesn't just react to the future, it engineers it in advance. So the real question isn't what has DARPA built, it's what are they building right now that you won't see for another 20 years. To understand DARPA, you have to understand panic. Not mild concern, not political tension, existential fear. In 1957, the Cold War is in full force. Then suddenly, the Soviet Union launches Sputnik, a small metal sphere that orbits the Earth, beeping as it passes overhead. From a distance, it's almost harmless, but psychologically, it shattered the United States' sense of control, because Sputnik wasn't just a satellite, it was proof. Proof that the Soviets had rockets powerful enough to reach space. And if they could reach space, they could reach everywhere. New York, Washington, London. Overnight, the battlefield wasn't land or sea anymore. It was the sky and beyond. The US realised something chilling. They weren't just behind, they were vulnerable. And so DARPA was created in 1958, not as a slow bureaucratic agency, but as a radical innovation engine, a place where rules could be bent, ideas could be extreme, failure was acceptable if it led to breakthroughs. Its mission was brutally simple, never to be surprised again, and that single idea has shaped more of your life than you realise. Let's strip away the abstraction for a second. DARPA didn't just create technology. It created the framework of modern civilization. Imagine a world where a nuclear strike wipes out communication in a single city. Traditional systems would be gone, centralized networks destroyed. DARPA asked a radical question. What if communication had no single point of failure? So they built ARPANET, a decentralized network where information could reroute itself if part of the system was destroyed. It was designed to survive war. Not to stream videos, not to scroll social media, but that same architecture became the internet. Every message you send, every page you load, is built on the idea of resilience under attack. Before GPS, navigation was guesswork, maps, and estimation. DARPA-backed systems help develop satellite-based positioning that could pinpoint location with extreme accuracy. Why? It was not to help you find a restaurant, but to guide missiles, to track troops, to dominate positioning in warfare. Now think about that next time you follow directions on your phone. You're using military-grade precision to decide where to eat. DARPA didn't just invest in machines that move. It invested in machines that think. Robots that can navigate collapsed buildings, adapt to unpredictable environments, make decisions without human input, and AI systems that can predict behaviour, analyse massive datasets in seconds, stimulate outcomes before they happen. Here's a thought experiment. If a machine can predict what you'll do before you do it, who's really in control? This is where the line between science and sci-fi starts to dissolve. DARPA has funded research into connecting the human brain directly to computers, not metaphorically, but literally. Signals from your brain translated into machine commands. The potential is incredible. Paralysed individuals regaining movement, memory restoration, enhanced learning speeds. But there's another side to this. If a machine can read your brain, could it also influence it? And here's the uncomfortable truth. DARPA doesn't exist to make the world better, it exists to make one nation stronger, and that means going places others won't. DARPA has explored gene editing, synthetic biology, and rapid response medical technologies. On the surface, it's about saving lives, but zoom out. Biology becomes programmable, DNA becomes editable, and the question shifts from what can we cure to what can we create. DARPA has studied human cognition under stress, decision making, and behaviour. Why? Because it's modern conflict. The mind is the battlefield. If you can understand how humans think, you can predict them, influence them, and potentially control outcomes without physical force. Now combine that with AI and data, and then ask yourself, is influence the new warfare? This is where it becomes deeply ethical. DARPA has pushed forward autonomous systems, drones that identify targets, swarm technologies that act collectively, AI-assisted combat decisions, no hesitation, no emotion, no moral conflict, just execution. So here's the question. When a machine makes a lethal decision, who's responsible? When an organisation operates this far ahead, speculation is inevitable. One of the most common beliefs is that what you see today is already outdated. The tech you think is cutting edge was likely in development or testing years ago, meaning the real frontier is hidden. Reports of strange aerial objects, for example, moving at impossible speeds, changing direction instantly. Some believe these aren't extraterrestrial, but experimental human technology. Hypersonic vehicles, advanced propulsion systems, next-gen stealth. Things that sound impossible until they're not. With DARPA investing in brain interfaces, some theorists take it further. Could consciousness itself become transferable? Not proven, but consider the trajectory. Brain signals decoded, AI understanding human patterns, increasing integration between human and machine. At what point does the line blur? Because DARPA doesn't think in years, it thinks in decades. Imagine learning a language in days, uploading knowledge directly, enhancing memory beyond natural limits, not evolution but designed advancement. AI systems that simulate entire conflicts, predict outcomes, advise decisions before action is taken. War becomes less about reaction and more about prediction. If information shapes perception and perception shapes reality, then controlling information becomes ultimate power. DARPA helped build the internet. Now imagine shaping what flows through it. Not censorship, but influence, subtle, invisible, and effective. Because DARPA is not just an agency, it's a lens into how the future is truly created. Messy, risky, unseen. It reminds us that the world you experience was once an experiment, a prototype, a classified project. And it raises one final unsettling thought. How much of your reality was designed without you ever knowing? So next time you pick up your phone, use GPS, scroll online, remember you are interacting with the echoes of decisions made decades ago by people whose job was not to follow the future, but to build it first. And if this is what's already reached you, then somewhere right now, behind closed doors, the next version of reality is already being created. And then the final question is, I suppose, when it arrives, will you even realise it wasn't already there? And if you like this episode, don't forget to follow, comment, like and subscribe. And just a quick shout out to our sponsors. Strong Coffee Company, protein-packed coffee for energy and clarity. Use code VANCRUX1 for 20% off at strongcoffeecompany.com. And then there's More Labs, clinically proven hydration and recovery drinks. Use code VANCRUX1 for 25% off at morelabs.com. And finally, Liquor Gummies, electrolytes and vitamins for hangover prevention. Use code VANCRUX1 for 20% off at liquor.com. That's liquure.com.